Well, the people have spoken, so shall it be. We're going to do a video talking about the Anunnaki. Now, before I go into this here, you know what I have to say. Hey, yo, peace. This is your man, L. Judge. Coming right back at you with some of that real talk real fast. Now, if you can, make sure you hit like, leave a comment, hit repost. It helps your boy out. It truly does. Now, the Anunnaki, man, are some beings who came here to this region to mine for gold. This is the original story. Now, the Anunnakis, they are, a lot of people, when they think of them, they think of the ancient Sumerians. They believe that the ancient Sumerians were the Anunnaki, but that is simply not true. Those ancient Mesopotamians who ran into the area of Sumer, they did like they do over here in the Americas and many other places around the world. They moved in and they just claimed it. They founded that doggone place. And then they seen the pictures on the wall and the painting and the carvings on the wall, and then they fashioned themselves after that. The timelines do not link up properly for you to say that those doggone ancient Sumerians were the doggone Anunnaki. They just knew about them. Now let's continue. Now the Anunnaki, they were some beings of some high advanced technology, and they were a pain in the butt with their technology because they had that risky technology that could go through those doggone firmaments. They had technology that allowed their ships to go through these firmaments. And that was a violation, because these are quarantines. These domes that they place on us, these are quarantines, and you're not allowed to travel into that space until the High Council says that, okay, your quarantine is up, now people can come and visit you. But however, there were people who were in violation oftentimes, and if they didn't have the technology to come up through the dome, they went up under it and came up through the waters. But they weren't supposed to be doing that, but they did. There's nothing we can do about it. The Anunnaki, man, they have a super advanced technology. Now, the Anunnaki, when they came here for a purpose. They came here for resources. Now, the story was, wherever they lived, they had their own shield around their planet as well, or wherever it was that they lived. They got into it with some Draconians, and the Draconians had technology, and those Draconians, they sent the doggone bomb that started to deplete their shield. And as it depleted their shield, because they lived in a region where it has 3 suns, and when it depleted their shield, man, it started to damage them because they didn't have anything to protect them from the radiation coming from those 3 suns. So like we do here, and like I say, this information is for educational purposes only. But like we do here, some of the stuff that you see them airplanes spraying, one of the things that they have in there is aluminum, because they want to reflect that sunlight. This is an image that I had AI create of Anu. This right here, this is the image of Anu. I got this book right here. It's called The Holy Tablet. This book, man, it came through my schools, or when I went through the schools of Dr. Malachi Z. York. When I went through the schools of Dr. Malachi Z. York, he made sure that we went through Christism, Mohammedism, Abrahamism. We went through Buddhism. We went through many different schools of thought. And we also had to read books like the Anumish Elish and the Epics of Gilgamesh. This is how I can give you stories about Enkidu and his buddy Gilgamesh. Enkidu was a wild man. Go back and watch my other videos when I was doing the purple shirt. I talked about the wild man. Not only did I talk about the wild man, I gave you the missing link, the reptilian. So like I said, the Anunnaki, they came here to get resources, because instead of using aluminum, they wanted to use gold dust to reflect the sun, and so they can rebuild their dome or their shield. Now, they had people here working and digging the mines, and those people, they got tired of working. Some of them ran off and created their own kingdoms in other parts of this thing that we call the world. And some of them, man, they just got tired. They're like, man, no, we're not going to do this anymore. So they started to boycott. They're like, you know what, we're going on strike. We're not going to work. So Anu's wife was like, you know what? You're supposed to be running this doggone thing. You know we got a quota we're supposed to get. You make sure they still get it. So what Anu did, he got with his chief architects, or chief, what you would call geneticists, Nergal and Aristogal. And they were like, you know what? Well, this place has a bunch of these little humanoid-like beings running around, or these primates. Let's see if we can grab one of them and if we can craft it or graft it to be a working being. It can't be too smart. It can't be too dumb. It has to be just right. For those of you who watched my other videos earlier today when I was in the purple shirt and I was talking about the reptilian being the missing link, this is Aristogal's mother. You see those reptilian eyes? Yeah. All right, now let's continue. Now, some people think that that Enki and Enlil, that they were just in one spot getting money or putting in work. No, they were in many different spots, but at the same time, because they knew the skills of doggone cloning as well. So they would clone themselves and send themselves as a representative to different places around the world while they were getting gold. So they weren't just in one spot, they were in a many of spots. And there are many people still to this day who have the bloodline of, who have some of the blood of Enki and Enlil. It's going through your blood right now. But now let's continue. So they was looking for the right primate to mix with. So a lot of them, man, they failed. A lot of them. So they ran into this. They ran into this one. This one was the most intelligent, and it was the best match for what they was trying to do. This right here is known as the Rhesus monkey. Whenever you hear someone talking about Rh positive, that's has to do a lot with this, the Rhesus monkey. It is a certain protein that exists within this character right here. And it still exists within some of the peoples today. You know how they, what's that saying? Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Yes, some of you are. And believe me, this is for entertainment purposes only, and this is for educational purposes only. When they finally got this being to walk right, because it had, you know how our legs bend when we walk? It didn't have that same bend in the legs, and that was a problem. So they kept working with it, and they couldn't get it right. But then finally, she was like, Aristogal was like, you know what? Forget this madness. I'm just going to put some of my genetics in with this doggone thing. And then they came up with a walking being. Now, this is the mystery. Whenever you hear people talking about that Rh negative blood, and man, I hope they let this video play, but they probably not. They probably gonna give me a strike for this too. But when they talk about Rh negative blood, that is the bloodline of those beings who were never affected. Those were the beings who have the bloodline of those beings who were Etherians, and then they manifest into physical form. They don't have this. They don't have this Rhesus factor in them. Just, man, think about this. I have to say this. All skin folks aren't kin folks. All black people are not the same species of people. And at the same time, all white people are not the same either. You've seen people that look like this here with that thin lip, the small nose, and that complexion of the skin. You wonder where that complexion of the skin comes from. It comes from this. You have different types of beings. You have some beings who are of the family of man, meaning that the family of man, when we went through our mutation, some of them ended up a lighter color. So, and it became known as white. But then you have this right here that was grafted and created, and people didn't know where it came from, and it mixed in. This thing was wild. This thing, when they created this thing and turned it into a humanoid being, they had it work in the mines. And then as time went by, they put these things in the doggone coal mines and had them working there. Then they turn around and turn them into doggone police and stuff like that. That wild streak, that doggone cruelty, that doggone mean streak, like, man, they just don't really fit into humanity. A lot of those beings are the beings who have this bloodline right here. I hope I didn't offend anyone. I'm just filling in pieces of the puzzle. This is your man, L. Judge. I'm out.